great. Yeah, yeah. You were because I was reading a little bit on your bio, like you said, it said you lived in Brasilia till like 17, right? And then you moved up to the North Brazil, right?
Yeah, what happened, I'm from the north of Brazil, but when I was 7 years old, my family moved to Brasilia, the capital of Brazil. So in Brasilia, I got connected with martial arts. I started training Taekwondo. There was a Taekwondo school close to my house, and a lot of friends would do kicks. And so I got interested in doing martial arts, and I ended up starting Taekwondo, fell in love. And then when I was 17 years old, my family decided to move back to the north of Brazil, move back to Fortaleza. And when I arrived in Fortaleza, I found out there was no Taekwondo in Fortaleza, in the state, and there was not much Taekwondo in the north of Brazil. It was a bad distribution because the Koreans arrived in 1970, 74, 5. They came to the south and southeast of Brazil, Rio, the big cities, São Paulo, but nobody went to the north, so there was not much in the north. So accidentally, at 17 years old, I became a pioneer. I introduced Taekwondo to the state. I found a bodybuilding gym, fitness gym.
You were 17 years old.
17 years old, man. 17 years old. A lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
There was no internet, so I called my Taekwondo master and I told him, look, I want to train, but there's no place to train. He told me, well, how about you start a place? And so I found a place around my house, and I went there and I introduced myself, and they said, okay, you can open classes. They had a big room, and I started teaching Taekwondo there. And then pretty quick, I had a lot of students, and 1, 2, 3 years went by. And so I had more people after teaching, and then we organized the first tournament.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I legalized Taekwondo. I made the not a federation, but it was a technical department. To do a federation, you need several schools. We didn't have that yet. And I had people coming from other states to do the black belt tests, okay, because I was new in the art. So I had a higher degree coming to test the black belts. And so that's how the whole thing started. Today, the state is giant in Taekwondo, champions, a lot of.
Wow.
And it was in 83, so exactly 40 years this year.
Wow.
And I'm going back to Brazil in August. They're going to make a big celebration. And the nationals is going to be in the city.
In Fortaleza?
Yeah, it's going to be big. The whole country are coming to have nationals there. All the athletes are coming. And it's going to be 40 years of Taekwondo there.
Wow.
And the 17-year-old kid now is 57. He's coming back like a hero.
Wow, look at that, huh?
Yes.
Because you wanted to keep doing Taekwondo, and there was nobody doing it.
Yeah, nobody doing. But, I started in Taekwondo, but I love all martial arts. I did karate. I competed in karate, in point fighting, black belt in jiu-jitsu. I'm very open-minded. I'm not, because some people, they do a style and they think that style is the best in the world, and they just want to participate in that style. I always been open-minded of all the styles. And when I was in Taekwondo, I think I was 15 or 16 before I moved to Fortaleza. My Taekwondo master, Carlos Lodo, told me about jiu-jitsu.
Back in those days.
Back in the day. And the thing is, around 82, 83, 84, jiu-jitsu in Brazil was basically in Rio. It was the Mecca. It was huge in Rio, competitions and fights and things happening there. But in the rest of Brazil, there was no jiu-jitsu, very little. In Brasilia, there was one school. In Fortaleza, there was two places. There was one that was there for a long time, Professor Sa. He was there since the 60s. And there was another guy who was young, just opened a gym. So jiu-jitsu in 80s in Brazil was basically in Rio. Even São Paulo was not that big.
And there was because I remember in Belo Horizonte, living in Belo Horizonte, they had another federation, and it was like a different, it was jiu-jitsu, but it wasn't like Gracie jiu-jitsu. And there was like a big difference of levels,
And another thing, back then in the 80s, there was not such a thing as Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. We call Jiu-Jitsu. Karate, capoeira, judo, Jiu-Jitsu. That's it. Later on,
In the 90s, right?
yeah, when came to America, when Royce fought and they created the UFC, then exploded in Brazil. Everybody want to do it. And then most of the teachers in Rio, they start moving to other cities, to São Paulo, and then they start moving out of the country. That's when the whole thing exploded. It was not a situation that Brazil, everybody was doing jiu-jitsu, was not like that.
Right. Interesting.